camp commandant. He was smoking a cigarette. So I asked him, I said, why I'm not being looked after as a POW and give me my cigarette also. You are to get only the food and the clothes. For the cigarette, you have to pay for it. I said, I have no money. Recollect, he offered me a cigarette. He said, but you can't get free. So I said, take your cigarette. And I think that was the last cigarette I had till, I came back to India and then many months later again started smoking. But let me make a small statement to all my friends who can hear me. I hope Dilip and Bhargo and Kuru and Chati Dighati. Friends, I don't think I ever told you all this, but today let me thank you. The way you looked after me, and especially Gary. Gary had a nice habit. He'll catch me with arm and press it and then keep me holding that I should not fall down. They really looked after me. That's how I survived, but I most certainly ever died. I also remember a few funny things in life. I don't know how many of them remember this. I used to spit blood. When I was taken to hospital and x-rayed and all. Oh, there's another story where I was lynched by the ladies in that hospital. Luckily, I survived there. I was declared patient of TB and I was segregated. So they had put me into another room and people were told that they should avoid meeting me. But Dilip Parulkar won't listen. In the morning, he'll come with his enamel plate and one paratha and that little dal, chane ka dal we used to get and sit with me and we used to have that paratha. I used to take small pieces and eat very slowly because it used to give me a feeling that instead of one paratha, I think I had two. So I won't feel hungry. Okay, Dilip, you remember you used to come with enamel plate and that paratha and chane ka dal and that enamel mug with a tea.
Tea, huh?
And used to sit because I used to be taken out and put in the veranda outside. And you used to have, that paratha with me. I don't know whether you remember this incident. I will never forget in my life. One day while you're eating, one piece of your paratha fell down. And we both were looking at that piece of paratha lying on the ground. And one paratha was not enough for us. So we kept looking whether to pick up and eat or not. And then we discussed. I said, let's request them to give us at least 2 parathas. You said, no, they will never give you 2 parathas. I said, they may agree to give us 1.5. Let's try. And if you remember, next day we got 1.5 paratha and that dal. I don't know whether you remember that piece of paratha. I still remember lying on your right side. Broken, bloody, 3-legged chair. You're sitting there. And anyway, that's what I remember. And thanks a lot. You helped me on that. I think it was 17th or 18th of December to bring me out of the cell when I met Jaffa and that, what was the name? Sarfaraj Mir, that SMO. And that there was one colonel also in civil. So thanks, Parulkar, for helping me. And all of you, gentlemen, thanks a lot. If you can recollect, you used to pull in money and buy 1 egg for me, only for me, 1 egg. And it used to be boiled and brought to me. I think that class 4 chap name was
Akbar.
Aurangzeb. With his teeth. And sorry for taking little extra time. And these people will sit next to me like a security guard to ensure that I eat that egg to the last, as much as sometimes I had to eat up even the shell of the egg because they just won't leave me. I say, no, there's still piece in it. So eat it. Because that egg used to cost money and they all used to pull in the money. I remember that. I don't know whether Bhargo remembers, those burn marks on my stomach. I don't know. I think one night something you came to my room or something.
Yes,
the room
I will cover it up when I speak.
Opposite. Yeah, best thing used to be I was kept in cell number 1. That is just behind the corporal's duty room. And that time we knew nothing outside what was happening. But a newspaper used to come and that newspaper wala will put that newspaper onto that window there of the guard room. And in the morning, these just will go into the bathroom, will come first towards my room to say good morning. And in a bargain, if they could pick up 1 or 2 words from that newspaper. So when we used to meet, then we used to say, what did you see? What did you see? And it used to be funny sometimes. 2-3 of us will say that we only saw those 2 words. So we used to miss out. That's how we came to know DP Dhar, if I remember the name, had come to Pakistan from that newspaper. This went on and I think on the 7th May or something. Yeah, I think it was 6th or 7th May when I was told that I'll be repatriated. But on 8th, nothing happened. sometime then I think Jaffa, Koilo and all made noise that then the treatment should be started for me because I'm suffering from TB. And then I think in after, late, maybe about 1 o'clock or so, a minibus came and I was taken out, blindfolded, and put into that bus. And that bus drove with the escorts. And then I found myself in a parking area of some airfield. There was a huge aircraft parked there. I think it was Bristol Britannia 4-engine aircraft. And there was Sarfaraz Mir was there. And they gave me a gift as I was being sent back to India. It was a black kacha with red piping, K2 cigarette, one packet of Wills, one towel, hand towel. I think they all are in Palam Museum now, including my Jew suit was taken away. Rather, I handed over. Well, but in between, I don't know the timing because I used to be conscious, unconscious. So I don't remember in between what happened, what not happened. But I know this much that I was in cell number 1. Well, that's my life. Anyway, thanks, good friend.
Thank you, Vikram. Thank you.
To reach the age of 79, 80 now. Otherwise, I would have died at the age of 29.
Well, all of us are very lucky to get back. Okay, now, Gary dear, may I request you to give your quick experience of getting shot down and then coming to a camp. Gary Grewal, let's have your
brother,
experiences.
as I mentioned earlier, everybody probably knows that I was attacking Shorecourt Road airfield, which is better known as Rafiki Air Base. It's named after one of their famous pilots who was shot down during 65, Squadron Leader Rafiki. I'm sure most of the Indian Air Force people have heard about him. So I was number 4 in the formation, led by now Air Marshal Jimmy Bhatia, still around very much. And in my second mission on the 4th evening, I was shot down over the airfield and taken POW very neatly and cleanly by the civilians. They beat me up a little bit for about 5-7 minutes, but luckily without any serious injuries. And whatever I had on me, like my watch, anything else, I had nothing else precious. I think the money I was carrying, they looked for my revolver, which I was not carrying, so they were a little disappointed. But having landed very close to the airfield, I was immediately taken to the airbase. Of course, walked blindfolded and handcuffed. And like I guessed, I was interviewed most probably by the base commander from his language and from his, the way he was talking to me. And I could make out that he's a senior officer. And of course, within 2 to 5 minutes, they let me go. I was put in a jeep, an open jeep with 2 guys sitting on either side of me. I was driven all the way overnight to Rawalpindi, where, like everybody mentioned, I think I landed up in the same jail. It was Rawalpindi Central Jail, because I got very similar blankets, what Chatti mentioned, and very dirty cell. I was there for a night, and next morning I was taken out for a press interview, where all the famous world channels, BBC, CNN, and Pakistan channels and some other European channels were all there. So that's one moment I was very sure that they're not going to kill me, not going to bump me off now. The world having had seen me. So the interview took about 10 to 15 minutes. Nothing much. They asked me some leading questions, which I declined to answer. And one Air Commodore there, he told the people that you're not supposed to ask any leading questions. So they stuck to some normal, standard, cursory interview. And thereafter, I was taken away and locked up in, as you all know, by now it was number 3 PNS flight, Rawalpindi. Right. And like mentioned by all these guys, I was also in one of the cells. Incidentally, there were these 4 regular cells, which were, like Kuru mentioned, by about 4 by 6 spaces. And they had a high ceiling with one light on throughout and a hard, Kuru calls it a bed, I call it a plinth.
Yeah, plinth.
It was a cement plinth.
Yeah.
And we had 2 blankets, the horse blankets. And thereafter, whenever I wanted to go to the loo, they would put a pillowcase on my head and take me to the bathroom, which was in one corner with an Indian seat on it. I don't exactly remember how many days, but I think after about from the 4th of December, must be about after, it was definitely after 16th of December. By then, Bangladesh was created and the war was almost over. I was taken out for the first time into the sun, where I met Kuru and Harish Singhji. No, incidentally, I had never met these guys before in my life. And they were quite sure that I was more amongst them. And I didn't know how to talk to them, whether they were Indians or somebody else. So we just looked at each other, we introduced ourselves. Am I right, Kuru? Do you remember all that?
Yeah, one sec. Yeah, for some reason, I don't remember that.
You and Harish were the first two guys I met when I came out.
Well, I remember being pulled out on Christmas Day. And
No.
That is
No.
That's every one of
This
us.
is well before Christmas. They made us meet each other in stages. First, only three of us: you, Harish, and me.
Right.
Subsequently, I think the next meeting was with the Leap and Cami and somebody else. I'm not sure. 6. Then around Christmas, we all got together where we were given a cake and all those very other.
Yeah, that I remember.
Anyway,
He remembers.
that was the introduction into the POW camp where we spent the rest of our life till, of course, July, August. Thereafter, we landed up in Lyalpur jail. That story is a different thing altogether.
Yeah.
That's
And
subsequent.
Fortunately, I was not injured badly. I had a few minor injuries, but otherwise I was hale and hearty. And I remember how badly Vikram was injured. We used to all attend to him. And like he said, buy eggs for him. We didn't buy eggs for him. We used to go around very egg.
Mullah's shoulder was blown up.
The person who was
He was really bad. I think he was the worst. And of course,
Mullah.
Mullah had a
I thought
bullet wound through his left arm.
His shoulder was blown up.
his tricep was shot off, right?
Yeah. And of course, Cami had broken his legs. Jaffa was in a bad shape. And who else? These are the
Tejwan
bad
Garu.
injured people.
Tejwan.
Chatti, I still remember with a big gash on the left of his chin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Am I right, Chatti?
You're right, sir.
And I think it was your very mask, your oxygen tube that hit you. Am I right?
Who came out there and hit me?
Yeah. And that hit you on the chin. Anyway, so brother, that was my story in
Thank
short.
you, Gary. Very
And
good.
we
Very
can-
nice.
We can proceed from here on.
Now I think I'll request Dilip Parulkar. Dear Dilip,
It's a real pleasure to be able to talk to you all of you again. Bring back some fond memories and some not so fond memories. So talking about I don't remember my being shot down and how it happened. That part, it's my very good fortune that whole thing is a complete blank in my mind. So I don't remember. But my memory starts from the time that I found myself in a bed with one light, one electric bulb lighted up, and in a cell in Rawal, which we found out later was Rawalpindi. And at that place, there was in the door, it was a wooden door for that cell, which had a peephole, which you could partition. That peephole had a cover on it. It was a wooden, small piece of wood covering that peephole.
It was a tin, aluminium sheet.
No, I think it was wood. But
somewhere wood, somewhere aluminium. No, okay.
No, there were wooden doors with a hole in them and a little round cardboard tag over it.
Yeah.
Outside the wooden door, there was a iron bar grill door.
Yep.
Still.
It was
That's
making-
right. I remember that. The iron grill after the door.
all right.
Standard cell.
That was it. And in any case, from day one, I had in mind to run away from the POW camp. That is all that was. It was completely consuming me. I was consumed by this. I had my friends and my squadron mates in India that if I get to become a prisoner of war, I will escape because that's what you're expected to do. And here I was in a POW camp in Pakistan, otherwise quite safe and sound. So there was no reason for me not to try and escape. So from the first day of my captivity, I started making plans to try and escape. About how I reached the camp, was living Rawalpindi is miserably cold in the winter. And this first week of December, second week of December. And I don't remember the exact date. I'm very bad at it normally. So, but wherever I was shot down, that also I don't remember clearly. But from there up to the Rawalpindi POW camp was a 3-ton truck, army truck, which took me there. And throughout the trip, I was complaining because my feet were freezing. My feet were feeling very, very cold. So you can imagine the distance from Lahore to Rawalpindi is few hundred kilometers. Throughout the time, I was all the time telling them, I had an armed guard with me in the truck, Pakistani armed guard. So every 3 or 4 minutes, I used to say, my boot my boot had flown off during the ejection. So I was bare feet. And in that freezing cold, I would ask that chap, I was really bugging him, the Pakistani chap, the Pakistani guard who was. When I was taken prisoner, that time also, I was attacking some formation, which I don't remember what the target was. Yes, it was an airfield. And as I was shot down and came down in the parachute, people started shouting and there was a big crowd which collected below. All sorts of people. And they were raising, shouting all kinds of invectives and all kinds of abuse. And I could hear some of them saying, Kafir hai, bhagne na paye, maar dalo, bhagne na paye. Because we speak the same language. So,
Kafir. Yeah, kafir.
Kafir hai, bhagne na paye. So, but I don't know, they had their instructions, I suppose. There was a police officer there who had been told what to do in case anybody lands in a parachute there. So that chap was there and he was a policeman in uniform. So he had complete control of the place and he had the authority. So he stopped the crowd from getting anywhere near me. He said, nahi, nahi, isko maro mat. ये अपने लिए जिंदा ज्यादा ये है, जिंदा होते हुए वो ज्यादा अपने लिए
Important.
क्योंकि वो अपने को, I mean, what he meant was he's more useful to us alive than dead. So let's not kill him. And he seemed to have instructions from their Air Force. There's the background to this also. In 1965, we had treated their POWs, the people who got shot down in India. We had treated them so well that, and they went back home when they were repatriated and gave glowing reports about how humanely they were treated. And they wanted to reciprocate because there is a term in diplomacy called simultaneous reciprocity. So we were entitled to this simultaneous reciprocity from them because we had treated, Air Marshal Cariappa. He later became Air Marshal, but he was in the 1965 lot of POWs. So he tells us how they were treated, and we were treated very, very differently. But because of our Air Force treating them, you see, that was one of the things, very important things. Our Air Force decided to have an Air Force POW camp in 71 because of the experience of 65, and it was meant because they thought aircrew is aircrew, and why should we treat them badly or create trouble for them? I think this was the rationale or the thinking behind all. Anyway, we had some, out of the 12 who were there was one wing commander, squad leader Jaffa, was not only a very senior squad leader, he had come to Pakistan from a very important post. He was the ADC to the chief. So that I was physically in quite good shape. I had a pain in the back, in the spine, but they did a medical examination and I don't remember whether they took x-rays or not, but they declared me to be quite free of any permanent disability or anything like that. That is the Pakistan Air Force had certified me, which was very good news for a pilot, of course, always that. And I was only looking forward, I was obsessed with this escape idea because just before I had read a book that was about criminals and how some criminal made a raft out of coconuts and floated it. But the sheer grit and the sheer tenacity of this fellow, I've forgotten the name of that book also, but that is what inspired me throughout. Because
Papillon.
That's the word. Yes. Papillon is the name of the book.
The name was Papillon.
Yeah.
That's what
And
my wife is telling me.
Chati, I heard Chati saying that. Papillon.
That's
It depends on how you pronounce it. It's spelled Papillon.
That's right.
And here is another great Angrezi ka papad.
Thank you.
I was obsessed and I was thinking of nothing else but how to escape and how to go about it. And subsequently, when it happened, I was so happy because it's
Dream come true.
I mean, I can only say that the Almighty was with me all throughout, guiding things. Because in order to achieve that, first of all, you had to become a prisoner. And you had to be in reasonably good shape to be able to. That means you should not have had some permanent disability or some permanent handicap.
Dilip, I think your determination from the word go was such that I don't think any kind of injuries would have even crossed your mind. So, there was no question.
I agree with you. Guru, I agree with you.
Yeah, from day one, he was always wanting to get out. And from the day I met him, that was 25th of December.
That's when we all met. And that's the other thing. Everybody all the Indians in the camp, there were 12 of us. Everybody knew about this, what I was trying. And everybody was helping also. Everybody was out to help me.
Yeah, ultimately it became a movement, Dilip. It became an official thing which we kept under wraps. It was beautifully discussed and it was planned. And
Dilip, we were also very lucky. We were also very lucky that I think they had a faith in us that we will not run away. There's no question.
Yes,
it's not faith, brother. It's not faith at all. It is the pedagogy of routine had taken over. They just couldn't imagine even try it.
Maybe. Yeah, you're right.
They thought, as far as they were concerned, the Pakistanis thought they were treating us so well that we were risking our lives. Because after all, with so many guards surrounding each one of us almost, there was the density of guards, armed guards was 1-to-1, I think.
Yeah.
And they were on all the time duty and patrolling and all that. So
Thank you.
They were feeling that, in fact, I heard them, or it is attributed to them. Ye chuhe kahan bhagenge? Ye chuhe kahan bhagenge?
Okay.
So that is what put them to sleep.
Good.
So you're getting impatient now. So
no, not that. Thank you very much. I think people have been sending us messages. You will be reading on the screen. Thank you, Mr. Rao. Thank you, everybody. That our presence has made you a little happier. Good. Dilip, may I sum up?
Sure.
By the way, I have not told you about my experience. It's my turn now for 5 minutes. I would like to share with you all, other than 6 of us here, because we know each other so well and we knew each other so well, what happened to us. But most of you, or in fact, all of you do not know what happened to us. Normally, what happens when a pilot is shot down and he comes down with parachute, he is a sitting duck. All of us, when we come down with parachute, anybody can at that time, actually it has happened. We know few cases that our pilots have been cut into pieces after they have landed. And we have come to know from Pakistanis only. So that's a very tricky portion for all pilots when you land up with the parachute, and if you are somehow surrounded by mob, then you have a tough life. You have seen Abhinandan's case. He was very lucky that everything came on so-called viral on the WhatsApp. Otherwise, we would have never come to know what happened. Like so many pilots are missing, you know it. So now what happened, in my case, everyone you have heard, 5 of us, that they have maximum survived 3 hours to 4 hours. And then they are in the hands of enemy. I will give you some very important event. In my case, when I landed up, not a soul was there for 4 hours. I was all by myself, sitting on a sand dune, and nobody came anywhere near me. I had all the time to plan things. I had all the time to think of my escape. Something happens. What should I do? I had all the time with me. Whereas my other brother officers who just spoke to you, they didn't have any time. They were caught there and then. So once I heard some noise, I was ready to escape. I had decided that either I spend the day here, if nobody comes, I don't move. I go only after sunset. And I had a compass with me. I had already planned during daytime as to this is my direction to go. All these things were there. Lucky for me that I could do it. None of them could do it. Now, once I heard a sound of somebody coming towards me, I decided as my plan to run, and I started. Thereafter, what happened? Carried on and on and on. I removed my G suit. I was in civil dress. I was wearing a civil dress under the G suit. Carried on walking. Fell short of water. Went to a village. Posed as Flight Mansoor Ali. Got the water from him. Gave him 10 rupees Pakistani currency. All these, all these chances I could have. I was very lucky. I had come almost about 10 kilometers from the border when I finally got caught in such a way that neither I could tell them, okay, you go, nor I could actually run from there. There are 3 of them, and they took me to a village where, believe me, again, I was so lucky that no ranger was there, no police station was there in the village, and I was planning my escape from there. I had left my survival pack. I had just picked up 4 water bottles and dagger and a torch. And I was ready to go 7:45 at night. Mind you, I ejected at 9 o'clock in the morning, and till 7:45, not a single Pakistani army /rangers could come anywhere near me. I was so lucky. Yet, I made a mistake. At this stage, when they offered me tea, and I asked them first question when I went to village, that how much time will the rangers or army people take to come to this place? They told me 3 to 4 hours. Now, that is whether they told me right or wrong, I cannot right now decide. But I realize that they will come after about 10 o'clock. And Brother Bhargav, if you cannot run away from this village, then something is wrong with you. So I was ready to go, but they offered me tea. वो जब चाय जो पी मैंने, that took about 20 to 25 minutes. And that was my Waterloo. I was about to leave when somehow, as now I would say destiny, they told me, wait, go at 8 o'clock, fairly dark. And 5 to 8 rangers came into that village hut. And they took about 40 minutes to find out that I was not Mansoor Ali. 8:45 to 9 o'clock p.m. when this fellow Awaz Ali came with a rifle to me, he says, आप पे हमें शक है, आप बताइए आप कौन हैं? तो मैंने कहा भाई मैं मंसूर अली हूँ, आप क्या बात कर रहे हैं? कहते आप पहले बताइए, नहीं तो हमें तरीका आता है. तो मैं क्या, तुम अपने अफसर को बुलाओ. कहते मैं अफसर नहीं हूँ. मैं कहना तुम अफसर नहीं हो, तुम अफसर को बुलाओ, मैं बताऊंगा उसको मैं कौन हूँ. फ्लाइट मंसूर अली हूँ, पाकिस्तान एयरफोर्स का पायलट. By the way, he had seen my watch and he was little doubtful because my watch had the Pakistan time. Now he told me that if you are a Pakistani, you are Muslim, please read Kalma. That's the time I got caught. Then I realized if I do something wrong, it's a religious thing, then I could be in trouble. I could be in danger. So I that time gave up at around 9 o'clock p.m., 9 p.m., almost 12 hours after I ejected, that I am Jawaharlal Bhargav. I am Flight Lieutenant Jawaharlal Bhargav. आपने जो कुछ करना है करो. तो जो विलेजर्स थे, उन्होंने मेरा मोरल बूस्ट किया by saying कि कौन करेगा आपको, आप तो हमारे मेहमान हैं. और see, imagine how the destiny, how your luck takes the turn. These same very villagers could have killed me there and then. Yet, I want to share with you all as to what I went through when I heard this. Really, I felt little happy. Thank God I'm safe now. Okay. Thereafter we started. Next morning, I had a very close shave. Gentlemen, none of you knows this, that when we were going the camel, it was 6th morning. I got shot down on the 5th of December. 6th morning, about 11:30, I was blindfolded, handcuffed on the camel ride with backache. By then I had developed a tremendous backache. And there was some aircraft sound. So I told Muhammad Ali, who was with me on the same camel, I said, तुम मेरे को बिठा दो, ऊँटों को बिठाओ, क्योंकि ऊँट टारगेट हैं हमारे. तो ऊँटों को बिठाया गया. मैंने कहा यहाँ से थोड़ा 20-30 गज निकलो यहाँ से बाहर. फिर भगा के मेरे को ब्लाइंड